This is Two Dudes and a Six Pack with your hosts, Grayson and Chris.
Tight, yeah!
That's good.
Join us as we cover a six-pack of topics from booze
Excellent.
to pop culture.
Inconceivable!
So, pull up a chair and crack open a beer as we discuss the best
Here's to feeling good all the time.
of the worst.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Happy Super Bowl coming up, and maybe Super Bowl in the past, depending on when you're listening to this. But welcome back to Two Dudes in a Six Pack. Nevertheless, you have me with you, Grayson, and on the other end of the line, you have my friend and yours, Chris.
That's right. What's up, guys?
And so today, since the Super Bowl is right around the corner, we wanted to do all things super, I guess. We were gonna, get into the Super Bowl a little bit, but we're also gonna get into a little bit of the super villainesses. I don't know if that's the right word that we think should be in upcoming movies, and maybe also who we think should play them in these fabricated movies that we're just making up right now. I think that's brilliant, to be perfectly honest.
Right. Yeah. They're going to have to go with our choices because they're going to be absolutely on point and genius.
Oh, like it is every time. I mean,
we'll be expecting a cut from them. Give us some of it when you hired in for the movies.
yeah, we call it for.
It's only fair.
You heard it here first, so there we go.
Exactly.
But all right, so we're gonna get into our drinks off the bat. Chris, what kind of drinks do you got going on right now?
Okay, so I'm a little disappointed. Maybe I've said this on this show before, but I don't really like the beer selection up here in Traverse City. There's not like a good. There's not like the Big Ten liquor store where like it's just this mecca of beer selection. So what I did was I kind of just grabbed a bunch of random stuff, and I tried to keep it slightly related to the either Super Bowl theme or otherwise. So it's just a bunch of beers. Two of them, I've got an IPA and a white ale tonight. And I've never had any of these before, so this will be a first taste on all of them.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was that bad. It was that bad.
And you gotta do what you gotta
I didn't
do.
do any research on them. Yeah, I didn't even research these beers. I just grabbed them.
Oh well, what are you gonna do? So
Yeah, so we'll see.
Do you want to give one of yours a whirl? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So the first one I'm going to try is it's from Green Bush Brewing Company. That's a Michigan brewing company out of Detroit. And I picked this beer because it sounded like a football play. It's a Star Chicken Shotgun.
Nice.
It's an India Pale Ale. So it's an IPA, which I'm a little bit, we'll see if it kind of can break the mold a little bit. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. So here we go. Star Chicken Shotgun IPA from Green Bush Brewing Company. And, nose feel on it. It's typical of an IPA. It's got 80 IBU, 6.8 ABV. And yeah, I mean, it's just kind of one of those straight up IPAs, They didn't really try to do anything except put a goofy name onto it.
Yeah.
And call it an IPA. Sounds about right. This is sort of like indicative of just a typical, IPA. Okay, it's not a bad IPA. It's a lot like, very much reminds me of Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. Very much. In fact, in a side-by-side taste test, I probably couldn't really tell either one apart. The problem is Bell's Two-Hearted IPA, that was like one of the very first ones that I really kind of fell in love with.
Right.
Before everybody started drinking IPA. So a little bit disappointed. No offense, Greenbush, but it's just not blowing me away. I mean, I'll drink it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to find it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot. I mean, you can't really go wrong with a lot of those old school IPAs, like the Dogfish Head, 90 or 120 or whatever. But
Yeah.
well, even 120 is pushing it. But
Yeah.
I did see 120 singles on sale at the beer shop today or the other day for $10 a pop.
Right.
For a
Exactly.
single like 12 ouncer. I was like, yeah, I'm not. I'll pass.
Yep. Been there, done that.
Yeah. So I'm trying to. I guess I'll start with this one. It is from Victory Brewery, which is out of Pennsylvania, and so I was trying to find breweries from Pennsylvania and from the New England area. So you get a little Super Bowl-y, Philadelphia versus New England kind of thing. And,
Nice.
you generally won't. I mean, there's a lot of breweries out of the New England area, especially if you went with Sam Adams. But I didn't. But so this one out of Pennsylvania it's called Victory, and it is the brand. The beer is called Dirty Wolf Double IPA, and I'm hit and miss with IPA. So this is a double IPA. So now I'm really. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. It is 8.7% alcohol by volume. According to the bottle, it is an aggressively hopped double IPA, and it's loaded with Mosaic, Citra, Simcoe, and Chinook hops.
Typical.
Yeah,
You see those Chinook a lot in these things.
It doesn't have a. I feel like when you're getting, an IPA, they should tell you the IBUs. I really think they should show you that. But
That's what I think too. Yeah, I do appreciate it when they do go out of their way to tell you that.
But for some reason, this one didn't. Even though it's like, that's kind of the reason why some people buy the IPAs. They want something extra bitter. But,
Right.
I'm going to pour this one in a glass, let it breathe, I guess. It actually is really clear. Way clearer than I was thinking it was going to be.
That's interesting. They're usually like that caramely.
Yeah, or even some of the like the New England style IPAs have almost like a citrus looking, consistency. But no, this is like almost
Pilsner like?
Yeah, almost Pilsner like. There's a little more head to it, but all right, I'm gonna give it a sip. Let's see what happens. If you don't hear back from me, it's because I'm dead.
Okay, let's hope it's not poison.
Yeah, for me, there is a level of bitterness which is like a cutoff for me, because it has that very almost gin level, like piney flavor to it. It's very, very piney, way more piney than citrusy. You have a hint of citrus to it, but that pine flavor just kind of gobbles that citrus up, and it is a black hole of pine. I mean, I can see if you're really into this kind of thing, it probably wouldn't be bad. It doesn't have that skunky thing. It doesn't have that almost like that wet sock / wet marijuana plant smell to it, which like some of the like crappy IPAs have.
Right.
So this doesn't have that. So I guess if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for that pine sol / whatever thing, okay, go for this. But for me, it's too pine, too bitter for me. But so that's the Pennsylvania beer. We'll see what happens with the others.
Oh boy.
But all right, so how psyched are you for the Super Bowl, man?
I'm not that psyched at all about this thing.
Okay.
I was more psyched when there was a chance that Minnesota, who plays in the same division as my fateful Detroit Lions, because I grew up around the Detroit area, so I had to root for them. But it's weird because then you move into northern Michigan and everybody's a Green Bay fan up here.
Oh, right. Well, you're closer to Green Bay,
like,
than Detroit.
Yeah, right. So, but anyway, I mean, so I do the same thing in football that I do with like hockey. Once my favorite team gets kicked out, I usually just root for the conference or the division or whatever. So I was really hoping Minnesota would kind of find a way to beat Philly and
Yeah.
actually play a Super Bowl in Minnesota, which I think would be kind of cool. So I was disappointed when they basically just crapped the bed against the Eagles. Now, here's the other problem that I've got. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I was in the same boat. I was really pulling for Minnesota, especially since Minnesota's gonna like be playing at home basically.
Yeah, like how cool would that have been?
Yeah.
You know? And then it makes it a little bit more interesting because let's be honest, nobody wants to go to Minnesota for a Super Bowl.
Right.
It's like 2 degrees out there.
Yeah.
Or like negative 14 degrees or whatever the heck is. This is like a cool like LA Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, so you had to have like some storyline for it to make it a little bit more interesting. I've got to give it up to Brady and Belichick and the Patriots organization. I don't know, what innocent virgin they sacrificed to whatever god to get at right now. But
Right.
it's incredible what they've been able to do, but it's also boring. I mean, it's just boring football. They just, they're like the kid in class that never makes a damn mistake and gets all A's in class and then becomes valedictorian. It's like, yeah, of course that kid, did that. So it's just it's that, and then it's just some of the distraction, like. Some of it feels a little bit manufactured. The whole Brady thumb thing a few weeks ago seemed super oddball.
Right.
I don't know, and I'm not like an Eagles fan. That's the other thing. Like I don't really care about the Eagles. Who do they even got? Nick Foles is their quarterback.
Yeah.
he started He started 3 games or something like that in the regular season, and made it to the Super Bowl. I mean, look, good at him. I guess I'm more of an underdog kind of guy.
Right.
But in this case, I almost want Brady to win again just because, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. It's just kind of like, I don't know.
Right. You realize that the Tom Brady has played in slightly over 15% of all Super Bowls now.
That's crazy. That is a crazy stat.
Yeah.
That is nuts. And he's won how many? 5?
Let's see. He's 5 of 7 right now, so this one will be 8. So, yeah.
It's crazy. What I mean, there's always jokes about him, but I think some of them are true. Like, is this person human anymore?
Right.
Don't know.
Yeah. And here's the crazy thing. So I'm looking at this list of like number of times teams have been to the Super Bowl. He has himself been to the Super Bowl more than every other team in the NFL except the Broncos, Cowboys, and Steelers. He has played in more than every other team.
Wait. Okay, so let me ask this question because you grew up as a Michigan. Was he that good in college?
I mean, he had a good senior year. He has a very interesting college because he came in. I think his first year he was redshirted, which is kind of that's what happens. And actually, his redshirt freshman year, or it might have been his redshirt freshman, Michigan actually won the national championship in football, so he was on that team.
See, what in the heck?
And then, actually, he was supposed to kind of like take over, but then Michigan brought in this young hotshot guy who was signed by the New York Yankees to play, be like the future shortstop, and he kept on from the stories I've heard, they've said that he was going to just kind of peace out if he wasn't allowed to play. And so, Brady's junior year, he was forced to, split snaps with this guy. And eventually this guy, just decided to go all baseball. And so Brady, his senior year, was all Brady. So... But I still remember.
Who was it, dude? Do you remember who that was? The junior?
Drew Henson. Drew Henson actually played for the Cowboys for a little bit back, long
That's
time
right.
ago. But
I forgot all about Drew Henson.
I still remember watching Brady, his last college game in the Orange Bowl against the Alabama Crimson Tide, and they that game went to like double overtime, and Michigan won because Alabama's kicker missed the extra point. Wasn't even blocked. He just hooked
was
it.
Was Saban on the coaching squad at that time?
That wasn't.
Yeah. He was still probably with MSU at that point.
Actually, I think that was the year where he coached Michigan State that year, but then
the Citrus Bowl and then quit.
Yeah, he split, and Bobby Williams coached the Citrus Bowl. Because I remember so many people at Michigan State were upset that year because State beat Michigan with that whole clock thing, which we don't have to get into. But so people were upset that Michigan went to the Orange Bowl and Michigan State went to the Citrus Bowl. But to be fair, both were great games. Michigan State won with the field goal in the last second over Florida, and Michigan, double overtime. That was like a 5-hour game, and Alabama lost because the kicker just botched the easiest thing you can do, just botches the extra point.
Oh man, that's incredible. That is crazy.
So yeah, and now Brady's the greatest quarterback or the greatest NFL player in the history of sports.
Can I ask you another question? Is Brady? Do you like Tom Brady? Are you a Tom Brady fan?
Since I root for Michigan, I will root for the Patriots in these things. But I almost feel dirty saying that. I feel like most people, if he went to Alabama, I'm sure every Alabama fan would root for the Patriots if that was the case. Or if he played at Michigan State, I'm sure every Spartan fan would be like, yes, suck it. Actually, maybe I shouldn't say that. Yes.
Yeah, maybe not. It's all right. They're going through some stuff.
I can respect a guy that gives it his all and that's his thing. Okay, I respect that.
I'm so torn with him. And maybe it's because I'm the type of fan that my family was more or less a Michigan State family. Like my grandpa went there, I went there. So growing up, I've always sort of rooted State, but I've also kind of rooted Michigan at the same time. I usually just pick State if they're playing Michigan.
Right.
I like when Michigan State beats Michigan, but otherwise I'm not the other side of the fan base that just kind of hates Michigan. So there's a lot of us that just despise the Michigan Wolverines in Michigan.
Uh-huh.
But I'm like, man, if both Michigan teams are good, then hey, that's good for us.
Right.
But so anyway, I'm a bit torn because it's not so much that he went to Michigan, although there was a year unfortunately I made a complete fool of myself. It was the Eli Manning crazy catch game.
Oh yeah.
I was just going crazy and probably said a whole bunch of things. I almost got kicked out of somebody's apartment because I was just being too obnoxious about Brady losing this game. But now it's I kind of respect the guy for the consistency, but he's so vanilla.
Yeah.
There's just nothing to this guy. What is going on? He is arguably the best quarterback that's ever played the game of football and doesn't, have any signs of slowing down. He's married to a former Victoria's Secret's lingerie model.
Just checking off the boxes that every like little boy had growing up. Just check,
right,
check.
Yeah, and then just won't like. I mean, I'm waiting for basically where's the Tom Brady scandal?
Right.
Not that I necessarily want it. So to be, clear about this, but like, he doesn't seem human to me.
Right. It's funny. I was just watching. I've been rewatching the show Parks and Rec lately, and did you ever watch that show at all? Yeah,
that's a great show.
Well, there's a couple of episodes where what's his face, Chris or whatever, goes and works. Is it Chris? No, who is it that she marries? And he ends up working at Washington D.C. for like a political campaign.
Yeah, what's his name? I can see him.
I think Chris is Rob Lowe's character.
Chris is Rob Lowe's character, but he was in like that that waiter.
Yeah, the Party Down. That's actually pretty
Party
good
Down.
Good show.
That's a good show. Yeah, what is his name? Hold on, real quick. Let's just try to find it.
Well, so in the episode, he's running like a congressional campaign for this guy, and the guy that
Adam Scott.
and Ben, yeah. So he's running this campaign for this guy, and the actual congressman walks in, and he just the congressman just nods to everybody, and he's like, thanks for all your work, and he goes and sits in his office, and he just sits and stares at the wall and does nothing, and he doesn't blink and everything, and they're like, is he a robot? And then they're just like, no, he just says what he's supposed to, and then doesn't do anything else. He's super vanilla. It's like, that's kind of in a way Tom Brady, but I mean, maybe Brady's just super focused and playing through everything in his head that I don't know.
It could be, but then he does these things. Then he does things like wears this goofy, oversized hat. What is this hat that he's wearing at these press conferences?
Right.
He's indoors and he's wearing this giant hat. It's stuff like that that just drives me up the wall with him. He goes to a press conference with 2 gloves on his hands and then kind of plays coy with I've worn them before.
Uh-huh.
So at what point have you been to a press conference with 2 receiving gloves on your hand? It's these things that kind of just drive me nuts about him. And It's not even that he's doing anything wrong. He's doing all the right things.
It's like he's just too perfect. He's like, it's like, you're 40. You're in your 40s. You should not still be in the NFL.
Yes,
you shouldn't.
You should not. With no signs of any kind of really weakness. And here's the thing though too. For those of you listening that maybe aren't big giant NFL football fans, but it's not like he's done it with the Jerry Rices or the Jerome Bettis's. He's not really had a great crew around.
No,
him.
he's never. It's always he's got the cheap. It's like, we only had a couple bucks.
Always.
This is who you got. Here you go do something
basically.
with them. Just
and that speaks to more Belichick and his coaching staff.
Yeah.
Which is getting cannibalized again.
And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. He's just fine.
It usually doesn't, because Josh McDaniels left. It was 11-17 with who do you go to? Was it Denver?
I don't remember. I don't think like Charlie Weiss was everybody that's been
Weiss was there.
I don't think. I think I saw a report. It's none of his coordinators have actually become anything more than marginal head coaches. So now the Lions are taking them. It's great. That's
right. Secret sauce is all with Belichick and Brady. Here's the other reason why I don't like Philadelphia. Schwartz is the DC for Philadelphia, and I would absolutely hate it to see him get a damn Super Bowl because whatever. Nothing against him really personally.
Right.
But he was a bad Lions coach. And they all have been for the most part, although I did like Jim Caldwell. I don't think they really should have fired him necessarily. I mean, I don't know. He had some weird things, but compared to some of the other picks, in the last few years, I didn't mind him.
Right.
Jim Schwartz I'm not a fan. Same way with whenever I see Rod Marinelli on the sideline. I always kind of root against these guys now.
Yeah, well, the Lions are just, I don't know. That's why I never get the complaint of Stafford. It's he doesn't have the perfect assortment of players completely surrounding him. It's Brady's never had anybody good. I mean, he had Randy Moss when Randy Moss was 80 years old. So I mean,
when he was worn out and just done.
Yeah, it's Moss wanted a ring, so he's I'll go to New England. Fine.
That's exactly it. That's 100% it. They had Garrett Blunt played for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Let's be real about what they've been using here.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm going Pats. I think the Pats are going to win this thing.
Yeah.
Although I thought the same thing back when it was not the Patriots, but the Manning. When did Manning get his just completely annihilated? A couple of years ago, his last last season.
I can't remember.
He just was god awful.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure they were just going to roll whoever they were playing. I think it was the Seahawks. No, I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah. They all start to
But
fake
either way, I
fuzz
remember
together.
he just gotten like completely destroyed. I don't see that happening. Here's the other thing though too with Philly. I just don't think they can put the Patriots away. Not unless they score like 50 points on them.
Right.
And even then,
Yeah, you never know. The Patriots can come back from, like 30 points down, so.
yeah.
Here's an interesting tidbit of totally pointless Detroit Lions trivia, which I'm surprised no one's actually brought up. Which Detroit Lions head coach has the highest winning percentage since Buddy Parker of the 1950s?
Whoa.
Like,
I got to go Wayne Fonts.
let's see. When did Wayne Fonts coach? Oh, Wayne Fox actually had an overall winning percentage of .496. So,
Okay. Not that great.
although that would probably put him still at like third.
Right. Right. Who is it?
It is actually Gary Moeller.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He only coached for 7
Gary
games
Moeller.
after Bobby Ross was canned.
Nice. Yes.
But Gary Moeller was fired as the Michigan head coach because he got drunk and got into a bar fight back in the early 90s.
Oh, man. They know how to pick them
Yep.
over in that Motor City.
Yeah. So I just think it's funny that his .571 winning percentage is the highest since, what's his face? Buddy Parker.
Hey, it doesn't matter because Matt Stafford, he's got like what? He's like third in all-time passing yards, man.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you accumulate enough yards and they just give you a Super Bowl? It's an honorary thing.
Yeah, it's like getting a doctorate degree from Harvard. They just kind of hand it out. They're like, this is
They just
honorary.
yeah.
Here's your honorary
Right.
Super Bowl ring.
Yes. Yeah. That's what us Detroit Lions fans are confused about right now.
Yeah, it says Super Bowl in quotation marks on the ring that you get.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But do you have anything else you want to talk about with the Super Bowl? It's it's just kind of one of those things. Blah.
No, my pick is the Pats. I don't see getting I just don't see Philly coming to play this week.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. But I don't know how close it's gonna be, but that's what I'm thinking. But all right, let's get into beer number deuce.
All right, beer number deuce.
Yes.
I've got a this is called Clementine. It's a white ale. It's brewed by Clown Shoes Beer, which is in Ipswich, Massachusetts.
I got a Clown Shoes beer coming up too, man.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
And I got a double IPA still left too. So we were kind of like psionically linked a little bit with this one.
Yeah, is the bottle or can or whatever kind of like comic booky looking?
This one's not. No, this one just has a picture of a clementine tree, and then at the bottom of the tree are a pair of clown shoes.
Okay.
And so my thinking with this whole thing was that basically it's clown shoes to vote against anybody else but the Patriots in the Super Bowl, because you'd be pretty much an idiot unless you're in Philadelphia to put your faith into Nick Foles and the quote unquote underdogs there. But I mean, stranger things happened.
Yeah.
But but not this time. It ain't happening. So all right, so I got a Clown Shoes Clementine White Ale. I'm expecting this to be similar to the one I had last week, actually, or a couple weeks ago. That sort of Hoegaarden kind of style.
Yeah.
Let's see how it is. And yeah, actually, it's like that, but it's got a bit of a spicy finish, which I find kind of interesting.
Okay.
So you know how like the Hoegaarden on draft, still one of my favorites.
Still
all time.
great, yeah.
Yeah, still amazing, but super smooth. Nothing against it at all. This is very similar, except there's a little bit of spiciness at the very back end of this one. And it's interesting enough that I kind of, I sort of appreciate it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's good.
That's
But
nice.
yeah, I mean, your typical, like, there's probably some coriander in there, the orange peel, or probably clementine in this case. Um, Decent white ale. I don't mind it. Comes in a can, so have a ball at the beach or something like that with this one. But
Nice.
yeah, it's good.
Nice.
I don't mind it.
Yes, I am as well going with a Clown Shoes beer here.
Nice.
Since the previous one out of Pennsylvania was Dirt Wolf Double IPA, I decided I'd keep it in the same general alley, and I went with Galactica Double IPA from Clown
Ooh.
Shoes. So I
Nice.
felt like if I wanted to be like try to compare the two, let's just go both double IPAs, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it, of the overly bitterness. And this one also is 8% alcohol by volume. I think the other one was 8.7. So I mean, there's a little difference, but
It's burly.
yeah. But this can is also very comic book esque. You have a woman who's obviously like, if a Hop was a female superhero, that's what she is, and she's
Nice.
Superman shooting beams out of her eyes. Yep. And it says on the
dig
can, our mission is to produce beer without pretension, while being free and a little crazy. So
Yes.
okay, this is also in a can. Let's gonna crack it open. And this doesn't give you any hints on what they made it with or anything, whatever. I don't need to know the hops that you made it with.
Mine didn't.
I'd much rather just know the IBU and that's it.
Right.
But, whatever.
Right, exactly.
All right, I'm pouring this. Yeah, this one has definitely... It's still not as murky as I thought it'd be, but it's got almost a burnt umber kind of look, tone to it. So it's definitely deeper.
Okay.
And if you poured it without really tipping the glass like I did because I'm a dope, you definitely get a nice amount of head to it. So it's almost got like you poured a Belgian triple kind of head style to it. Like very thick, very, not going away kind of thing. So
Interesting.
let's see. The finger trick doesn't really work.
It's one of those myths. I don't think I've ever gotten the finger trick to really work.
No, I don't know who came up with that.
Beer drinkers know what we're talking about. The standard audience member probably doesn't, but that's where you stick your finger in the beer in the hopes that it will stop the foam from foaming, or speed it up to calm down.
Yeah. It's like maybe that works with just like an overly carbonated beer, maybe. But
I don't know. I think it's just somebody just wanted to stick their finger in something and was just like,
yeah.
this works.
I think there was excuses like, no, it helps with the head. I'm fingering
Exactly. Yeah,
the
exactly.
head,
Like,
so
yeah, you
chill
just
out,
stuck your
bro.
finger in my beer, bro. It's like, no. It's overheading. That's why I did that.
That makes sense to me. I'm just gonna walk around the bar one day and start putting my finger in people's glasses, like,
See how it goes. Yeah.
as I leave with just like 6 black eyes.
It all depends on the atmosphere.
Yeah. But all right, I'm gonna give this a whirl real quick. Let's see. Oh, that's that's definitely different. It's not not overly piney at all.
Okay.
You still got some of the pine, a little bit of like a grapefruit zest, so it's not overly citrusy, but you also there's almost like a little bit of molasses in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's I don't know, this isn't too bad. Like the bitterness is there and it's not going away. But
Yeah,
it's like the frosting on the top. Like it's always there, but the rest of it down below, you have it's not overpowering. It's got definitely kind of like a caramely maybe molasses isn't exactly the right thing, but it's kind of like a grapefruity caramel kind of thing going on. And it's surprisingly I don't mind this at all, actually. I mean, it's still maybe a a hint too bitter for my like specific yes kind of taste. Maybe if I was to get the Galactica single IPA, that'd be just perfect. But if there's a single IPA version of this, but I think for the most part, I like that it's not just here's some pine. Yay.
That's what I mean. That's kind of like where I was going to go with this. Okay, so I've been a fan of the Clown Shoes Brewery for a little bit. I used to 10 bar at this place called the Little Fleet in Traverse City, and they had rotating taps, and one of them was consistently from Clown Shoes. So I've had a few different things from them, and they've always been this way. They've always been slightly out of the box from what you're kind of expecting a little bit, right? So even this Clementine one, a little spicier at the end than maybe what I was expecting.
Right.
It sounds like yours is sort of similar to that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm looking for when it comes to these kind of beers. Like, I'm sick of, like, again, no offense, Greenbush Brewing Company. It's a fine IPA. If that was the first IPA I ever had, probably would be one of my favorite IPAs. But it doesn't taste, it tastes like every other IPA I've ever had.
Yep.
At least these guys are trying to push it a little bit, do something different.
Yeah. It's like there's only so many times you can have the exact same cheeseburger without you being like, it's a cheeseburger. Like,
yeah, right.
You know, do something different with it.
Then you just go, play the hits. You know which ones you like. You're not really gonna go, try all of them and expect something crazy different.
Yeah. I have to admit, I believe this is the first Clown Shoes beer I've had before. I'm going. Yeah, I think this is the first Clown Shoes one, and so I dig it. I think it's not just totally just straight bitter. That's it. It adds some complexity to it. There's a little more interest to it. My taste buds have like, oh, there's something different besides just licking a tree. Got it.
Right.
So
exactly.
So I can dig it. It's not that pine sap and corn, fermented corn thing going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh man.
But
I think we should try that though from your history of beers there.
Oh.
That's straight up like fermented corn and pine sap. I just feel like we've gotta give it a go, like a whirl. Somebody's got to go back to basics with it.
That would be interesting if we started to try to just like ferment and kind of quote unquote brew stuff that were like the base of all like alcohol production. I think that could be real interesting.
I think that could be really interesting as well. Yeah.
Not sure.
So I found. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just trying to think. I'm not sure how we do that. Do we just put corn in water and let it sit for
long time?
I mean, I'm sure
know.
There's got to be some kind of, I don't know. We'll make some YouTube videos eventually at some point. Whenever Chris and I are eventually in the exact same location for longer than, a few hours, you're going to,
right.
The YouTube videos you're going to get, oh man, it's going to be nuts.
It's going to be crazy. Just wait.
Yeah. So stay subscribed or yeah.
Tell your friends to subscribe. Help us out, please.
Yeah, we need to get to 1,000.
Right.
Damn
yeah,
YouTube.
freaking YouTube. Jackasses. So the other one I had from Clown Shoes is Hoppy Feet.
Okay.
Which was like a black IPA or something like that. But again, they served it in like a snifter glass. So it was like only like an 8-ounce pour.
Okay.
Super high in ABV, but again, good. Like, it's another one of these companies where I kind of like them. The stuff I've had or I've heard of, I've liked. The other one was, what's the other one we were drinking out of New York?
Oh, Southern Tier.
Yeah, Southern Tier is another one. And then weren't we talking about another one recently?
Well, I was bringing up the Firestone Walker, but
Firestone. Yeah, that's the other one that's kind of on my radar right now too.
Yeah. That's out of California, and I was telling Chris earlier that Duvel, that might have been one of our very first kind of real outside the box Belgian or just really any kind of big import beer. It's not a big import beer, but that for us that's one of the, I think, for the first beers that really kind of opened our minds or eyes, like, wow, beer can be like this. Like,
yeah, right.
Like, so yeah, I think we got the Duvel and it came in like that, like 1.5 liter or the 1 liter bottle, the bigger bottle. And so you'd pour that and you had the giant head. And then so we'd just kind of, I think it was like World Market that basically we had to get all of our beer from. And so we just kind of went through all the bigger bottles that they had. And so, we went through that, and then we went through the Chimay bottles, and Chimay is fan-freaking-tastic. And
Chimay is amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, I was at a bar in Miami, and they had freaking Chimay on tap, dude. Like,
no kidding.
I had to get that. I'm pretty sure I paid it was like $15 for a pour, but it didn't matter. I had to have it on
totally
tap.
Worth it at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
But then we had
Chimay on draft. Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember which color it was. It's either blue or red. I don't remember. Yeah.
Still.
But then I remember we went from Chimay to Omegang just because they're all like in that bottle line, and it looked like the same thing, and it tasted again fantastic. I think maybe there was a Duvel kind of stamp on it, and we didn't realize at the time that was out of New York. And so I think when we figured that out, it was a little like, like you bamboozled us, you jerks.
Right.
How could
Yeah.
you? But once you kind of it's like, that's cool. If it's good tasting beer, it's good tasting beer. But Duvel kind of has a little like almost like satellite thing in Omegang, and then Duvel also has this little satellite thing on the West Coast with Firestone Walker, and so that's how I found out about them. Like, I'd seen them before, but then once I heard that Duvel was like kind of involved, I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go try this out now. Like,
No doubt. Yeah.
so
Pay attention to that
delicious.
one.
Yes. Very good. But I think I'm going to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No. I don't even remember where I was going. You said Duvel, and I was like, yep, remember where that was at.
Yeah. Well, since we can't really remember where we're at, we might as well just go to we wanted to look at the major foods from each combating city from the Super Bowl, which would be...
This is a real battle.
Yeah, this is what really is important. This would be in one corner, the Philly cheesesteak, and in the other corner, the New England Clam Chowder. And I'm not counting baked beans because we're not doing New England baked beans. We're doing New England Clam Chowder. So, which one is going to duke it out and win over the other? Because this is a very important question here.
This is, and I'm like I'm like a bit torn in how to answer the question.
Right.
For me, I love a Philly cheesesteak.
Uh-huh.
But I also love the complexities of like a real legit, like, now granted, I've not had a New England clam chowder from New England. I've made them based on recipes that I've found.
Uh-huh.
Right? So I've never had a Philly cheesesteak either. So I'm obviously an expert on this question.
So we're going, but I think a lot of people probably haven't, unless they've been to both cities, haven't had, the authentic.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I've never been to Philly, and I've been to the Boston airport, so I don't know if the Boston clam chowder I had at the airport counts. Probably not. It realistically is probably like a Campbell's condensed soup. It's served on,
Right.
Here you go. This is maybe not even the condensed. Maybe they went fancy with the one that you don't have to add water to, So maybe it's like the hungry man's whatever, the progressive soup. But
yes. Which one are you going with? Which one do you like?
Man, okay, I am a giant fan of clam chowder. I love a good
So am I.
New England clam chowder. Like, if I
I
had to,
think I'm going clam chowder.
if I had to go with like my favorite just soups, period, that clam chowder might be top 3. I just
It might be.
I mean, we could do a whole episode just on soups. Like, a good soup, I mean, it's hard to go wrong. I mean, but
It is.
I don't know.
I almost feel like I'm threatening the quote unquote man card by not going with a Philly cheesesteak.
Right.
But a legitly made clam chowder is amazing.
Yeah.
If you make it right. If you have like a legit, like, you got to do the whole thing, like the clams, the clam juice, the potatoes, the cream, brothy base, like all of that stuff, and some good bread to dip into it.
Right.
To me, I'm like, I don't know, I sort of fall on the New England side on this one again. Not to give them a sweep on this whole process, but
I feel like there's very few soups that can really pass as just a straight meal. And the clam chowder is definitely one that's a meal. Like if you're getting that, that's a meal, man. I mean, if it's enough. I mean, it's not like, because I think maybe it's because it's more of cream based, so it's not super watery, but still. And I don't know, sometimes just like I like a good sandwich, but sometimes the Philly cheesesteak, it's I don't know. I like
It's kind of simple, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You throw. Look, the steaks being made on TV and all the other stuff, delicious. Nothing against it, but I just feel like nothing really beats a cup of legit like soup sometimes.
Especially when it's cold out, it's just like, man, it's like it's freezing. I was just outside shoveling snow. I need something warm. Give me some of that New England clam chowder.
Exactly. Well, let's like put this whole fight into the location of the Super Bowl, Minnesota. Right. You're gonna want the clam chowder. You don't want a Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to have some damn clam chowder. I'm looking up the classic New England clam chowder ingredients, and it looks like you actually put some bacon in there.
Okay.
I'm all about.
Uh-huh.
But then, yeah, it's like your basics: butter, onion, celery, thyme, bay leaves, potatoes, flour, clam juice, clam meat. That's it, man. Like it's like so simple, but I think in the realm of these two together, if somebody's like, I've got a legit New England clam chowder versus a legit Philly cheesesteak, probably 8 times out of 10, I'm going clam chowder.
And the other 2 times is when you're hungover or just really drunk.
Yeah, exactly. I just want the greasy, like, give me the burger food because this isn't gonna do it for me.
Yeah. There's, man. So when I worked at this like outdoor seafoody place in Savannah, and they had clam chowder on the menu, and this always killed me. They would serve this quote unquote New England clam chowder, but they was tomato based. And I was just like, this is not New England clam chowder, man. This is you are mistaken.
There's a Boston clam chowder that I think is tomato based.
Yeah, I think
there is one, but it's not the New England.
I think Boston is the tomato based. I believe that's correct. But I just like, yeah, so they definitely had them like reversed. There's obviously somebody in the South, because here's newsflash: a lot of people in the South do not travel north past the Mason-Dixon line. They do not. Maybe New York, maybe, but
maybe.
There's not, you like 9 times out of 10. No, if they're from the South, that doesn't happen. Like when Amanda and I were getting married, Amanda was born and raised in Augusta, and out of all the family members, I think like 3 came. Everyone else was just like, it's too far north, man.
Right.
It's like, yep.
Can't go that far.
Yeah. My minister was from Jamaica, but her family from Georgia couldn't do it because that's just, woo, too far.
Exactly. Right.
But
that's sort of like metaphor for how
But if you guys want more insights into that relationship, just wait for the ebook I'll be publishing in the next month or so. That'll be interesting. So more.
I'm even excited about that.
More interesting, tintillating insights into that.
Yes. Can we take this time to talk about some of the content that's coming out? Like, I think we've got some pretty sweet stuff on the way.
Sure. We're on the topic. Let's go.
You got your ebook. Okay. Yes. Now, the tentative plan, we're going to get this website up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back through our podcasts, and I want to actually draw up legit write-ups on the different beers and stuff that we've had. I think that would be kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
But then there's also the other stuff, the creative stuff that we're doing. I've got some unpublished stuff that I haven't even looked at for a long time. I'm going to brush it off. And sounds like Grayson's got some of that stuff too. I think it's going to be kind of sweet.
Yeah. I mean, the ebooks, it's kind of a new publication, and it's one of those things where it's just like you just have an idea. And because I was recently revisiting a lot of places that I had been to in the past that were important to me maybe a decade ago, and I was revisiting it, and it was almost like you're almost kind of walking through your past, but in totally different shoes. And so a lot of it is like a mirror of itself as it's going. Like part of a chapter will be what I was doing 10 years ago, and then the other half will be in present tense and what's going on now. And it's just kind of, I think it's actually kind of interesting in the back of my head. I think it is, but
I like it.
you know, it's just, you know, I don't know. It's the title of the story is Traveling for the Soul, even if you don't have one. So
I dig it.
That is the
I dig it a lot.
yeah. So that is that, and yeah. So you'll be able to you know, we've been kind of pushing off the. I mean, the website will be coming soon. This website has to come before we put out the ebooks. But yeah, eventually, you know, we should have like a nice little library of just, you know, stuff that, you know, get super cheap for like $1 or whatever, and you know, just spread the word of
Yeah,
everything, and yeah, so.
Help support our drinking habit. That's all we're asking.
Yeah. And I think also I wouldn't mind getting into, because I had on an old blog, I'd published like a review of just a kind of a local brewery. I think it'd be cool to get back into that stuff and start, you know, putting out more of our personal publications of like beer, like, or brewery reviews, since, you know, that's a lot of the stuff we do on the YouTube channel. But yeah, we got some sweet content coming out in the next few months.
Yes. It's going to be good.
But so you're going with the New England Clam Chowder, I would take it.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, it almost like, if you first said it, I think the favorite is the cheesesteak. But
Oh,
when
yeah.
you break it down, it's like the Patriots. You make the right way, and it's going to be well above
Yeah.
a bait cheesesteak.
It's not always exciting, but it's damn good.
But it's damn good. And you know it's going to be good. I've had plenty of cheesesteaks where I'm like, the
Yeah.
meat's too dry, peppers are old, cheese isn't right,
Yeah.
you know, bread sucks.
Yeah. It's either too squishy or too crusty, and it's just like, man.
Yeah. But, you know, most chowders, if they're made the right way, and or if I'm making it, I'm making damn sure that I'm making it the right way.
Yeah.
It's like delicious stuff.
Yeah. But all right, we're going to get into beer number 3 before we get into our final topic. So you want to carry out the last one, or you want me to go?
You go ahead. I'll follow.
Okay, well, I tried. I really wanted to get like a Minnesota-based beer for this, because since the Super Bowl's in Minneapolis, I really wanted just a Minnesota beer. But the problem is, living in the West Coast, you're kind of living in California's shadow, and so the beer selection is very heavily, full of California beers. And that's not to say that you can't find stuff elsewhere. I mean, I've obviously had this stuff from Pennsylvania and Massachusetts, and I actually found a bunch from like Idaho. There's a new brewery from New Mexico that popped up that actually looks like it has some legit stuff I kind of want to try out. But yeah, not a single one from Minnesota, so I was a little disappointed. And so naturally I went with one from California, because why not? But I figured I've already done 2 double IPAs. I wanted to pull back a little bit, because those double IPAs will get you.
Oh, they will.
So I went with the aforementioned Firestone Walker, or the Firestone Brewery out of California. And I went with, the beer's called Pivo. It is a hoppy Pilsner. So basically it's a Pilsner with like some extra hops to it. And that just sounded like, okay, sometimes I dig a good Pilsner. I respect people that put the time into making a Pilsner, because it takes longer to make that lager style beer than an ale. And especially for like local microbreweries, I really respect it when they at least attempt that. So, granted, this is
Totally agree.
So I'm gonna go with this, but I like it since they're adding a little extra flavor to just the Pilsner, almost like they're trying to make it taste a little more microbrewery-y, by adding some hops to it. Maybe they're trying to get that IPA crowd, but I don't know.
Could be.
Plus the just that logo of the Scottish lion up on its hind legs fighting the bear which is like in a boxing pose, is kind of badass.
I like it.
So, all right, I'm gonna give it a taste. Oh Jesus, that is good.
Man, I gotta find this beer.
That
I gotta
is
find this company.
like there's some hoppiness to it, but it's not heavy. There is just enough for it to be present. So
Right.
you can taste like you're kind of, I wouldn't, maybe Pilsner, more along the lines of like a Stella kind of thing. It's not like, not as watery as maybe a Budweiser. But so it's got some of the, a little more flavor, but then you have some just subtle hoppiness notes on it. Again, not heavy, but just enough for you to like know it's there, and it's really digging it. I gotta be honest.
That sounds like a super difficult beer to pull off.
Oh yeah,
At the
because
end of the
you
day.
could screw that up. Because, okay, a Pilsner is really hard to. I mean, really easy to screw up. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
look at it.
Really easy
9 out of
to
10
screw up.
people that sell Pilsners, the Pilsner sucks.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
and then just adding, I mean, okay, in general, IPAs, it can suck, but you just add more bitterness to it, and you kind of cover the suckiness to it. But when it's just subtle,
Yeah.
you cannot really covering anything up. You're adding. It's like, I don't know. It's like when you're making something good, like a meal, and it already tastes good, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna add like a little dash of cinnamon or whatever on this thing that's
Right.
not sweet, and you're really rolling the dice here. It's like this is either gonna be amazing or just screw the whole thing up. So yeah, this is fantastic. So if you can find
Man,
a
I gotta
Firestone
find it.
Pivo Hoppy Pills, go for it, man.
All right. I'm gonna keep an eye out for it for sure. I'm going in the same geolocation. I got a California brewery.
Okay.
It's Stone, which I like Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Stone's a good. I've got their Laurel and Dr. Rudy's Inevitable Adventure Double IPA.
Oh, the double IPA returns.
This is a third double IPA on this episode,
Yeah.
which is kind of incredible. I don't know how that happened, but it did.
Yeah.
It's 8.9 ABV. They didn't give me the IBUs on it. But anyway, I like Stone. I'm hoping that this is going to be a solid brew.
Okay.
It's also been sort of sitting out throughout this whole podcast, so I think it's kind of approaching. I like my IPAs closer to room temp, especially the doubles.
Okay.
I don't like them super cold. I think, especially with the bitterness, they taste a little bit better, smoother when they're a bit closer to room temp. But anyway, it's apparently a limited release. I don't really know much more about that. I picked it up because we're about to go into the whole superhero thing. So we've got the adventure kind of tie-in.
Right.
And then also because I like Stone. I'm not a big double IPA guy anymore. I was when we first started doing this whole thing and finding the different beers before the whole IPA craze, happened.
Right.
They were really kind of wildly different beers when we first kind of stumbled upon them. But lately, I've been not as thrilled about them. So we'll see what happens with them. I've been drinking everything out of the bottle. I haven't been pouring them.
Okay.
So
I
I don't think it's affected much.
have
But
you had any triple IBAs yet? Or IPAs?
I think the only one that I maybe have had was from Dogfish Head.
Okay.
I think. And I'm trying to like think of that as I take a swig out of this thing.
Right.
This one I kind of like.
Okay.
For an 8.9 double IPA, it is not as bitter as I thought it was going to be for one. And it almost had like an orange dum-dum sucker sweetness at the end of it, which was really strange.
Okay.
Like
The
usually with these
dum-dum
double
suckers.
IPAs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like it's a weird, like a very pronounced sweetness at the end.
Okay.
And very orangey. very citrus orange. And not as crazy bitter as I kind of thought this would be. Take another sip here. I don't know who Laurel and Dr. Rudy is either, but whatever. Yeah, it's weird. Candy aftertaste. Honestly, it's a strange thing for a double IPA.
Yeah, it is strange. Yeah.
But I like it. I mean, they're doing something different, which again, like I completely appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, when they're trying something new, it's like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, let's see here. I'm just reading the back of this bottle a little bit. Dr. Rudy. Okay, hold on. I'll just read the back just so we have some context here. Laurel and Dr. Rudy's Inevitable Adventure Double IPA. A pairing like this was bound to happen. So their Laurel hops were released in 2016, quickly became one of our favorite new varieties. So apparently these are hops then.
Okay.
It's highlighted in our Stone Hop Revolver Single Hop IPA series. Was featured hop in our highly popular 2017 summer seasonal beer Stone Ghost Hammer IPA. Then there's Dr. Rudy, which has been around since 1976. Originally known as Super Alpha, this hop brings classic raisin and piney notes. The raisin might be where I'm kind of getting some of that real sweetness.
Okay.
Which paired perfectly with the floral citrusy aroma of Laurel. Traditionalist Gen X meets adventurous millennial. What do they talk about? Nothing. Hops don't talk. Together, however, they speak. It's apparent that a pairing like this was bound to happen. At Stone, we call it inevitable. So there you go. They're two different hops. Well, a bit of an old and new hop blend. But hey, not bad. If you're going to go double IPA, which I don't really recommend in general, if I saw this one, I would be like, all right, yeah, that one I know is solid. It's good.
What were the other beers that you had today?
So I had Star Chicken Shotgun, an Indian Pale Ale out of Greenbush, and I had a Clementine White Ale from Clown Shoes.
That's right. Star Chicken, I like it.
Yeah, sounded like a football play.
Yeah. But all right, I guess we'll just get into our final topic of the evening while we're here then. And that would be...
Chick.
What's up?
Chicks, man.
Chicks, man. Evil chicks. Evil chicks.
Ooh, yeah, even maybe better.
All chicks are kind of evil. Let's be honest.
Right, that's true.
True. Now that we're getting into it, let's whatever.
Right. Let's call a thing a thing.
But basically, when we wanted to look at who we think Marvel or DC or whomever, bad or what villain females they should bring into the fold, and also who should play them. Because the last episode we were talking about how DC was looking at doing the Gotham Siren Vixens, or I don't even remember what the working title of it is. Since they wanted to work off of Harley Quinn and all those other characters, and so we wanted to look at what maybe other female villain characters in the comic book universe they should bring to light. And before we get into any of that, Chris, I want to ask you the most sacrilegious question possible in in relation to this.
Okay.
It has something to do with Harley Quinn. Would Harley Quinn be this popular if she was not connected to the Joker? If she was just a standalone on her own, would people even care?
No. They wouldn't.
That's kind of...
They wouldn't care. They would not care. you cannot like okay, so let's just like it's difficult to even go down there a
Uh-huh.
little bit because you have to remove the Joker from our respective memories, and he's such like this crazy archetypal villain character. I think we've all kind of had nightmares about not only just like clowns,
Mhm.
people that are supposed to be innocent, but then also have this like weirdly evil, sadistic side. But it's been ingrained in us that like the Joker villain in Batman that we've all kind of grown up with, like it is a cursed character.
Right.
And you don't have a Harley Quinn without that kind of a person. Here's the interesting thing about Harley Quinn was like she was popular from the adventure or the
Yeah.
animated
In the
series.
cartoons, yeah,
Like,
starting like 92 or
yeah, like
whatever.
that's where she like was born out of that Warner Brothers um, Batman cartoon. So she's always been tied to the Joker by that point. But if maybe she kind of was Harley Quinn and there never was a Joker,
Mhm.
I still don't see her being, that popular. I think she's almost laughable at that point.
Right. Because yeah, that's
What do you think?
that's what I was kind of thinking. Like when I was going through other possible female like villains or whatever, and I was just looking at Harley Quinn. It's kind of like, she has a very like sadistic relationship with the Joker, where it's almost like the Joker's like kind of has like a connection with her, but he also would like murder her in a second if like he had to, like
Right.
whatever. And it's like their relationship is what makes it kind of interesting, and that the fact that somebody could like see the Joker and be like, like ooh, be kind of swoon by it, especially when she's like a psychologist therapist kind of thing originally. But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
but then you kind of start looking at it, and it's like she only really like hates Batman because of the Joker, and it's just like there's not like I don't know, like there's nothing like overtly special about it. Like there's a lot of and like you have to compare I think to the other major female villains or whatever characters in Batman's life, which would be Catwoman and Poison Ivy and these kind of things. And these other female characters I think are much more stronger in their connection to Batman. I think what makes
Totally.
Harley Quinn just interesting, at least, is her connection to the Joker instead of Batman. She's almost like the Catwoman to Joker, almost like. But
Yeah, that's actually a really good way to like think about it.
yeah, it's just like yeah. And so when I was looking at stuff, I'm like, without the Joker, it's kind of like. It's like without Batman, would you really care about Robin? Not really. Robin's
No,
just
yeah.
somebody that likes to flip around, And
In green underwear and yellow and green boots. Like it's weird.
yeah,
It's really
yeah.
it's already weird enough with the Batman mythos. But without Batman, it's like who is this guy?
Yeah.
He's really like a failed he would just be a failed superhero.
I always like it that they couldn't give him an actual mask. It's like, here, wear this eye thing. It's like, really? No one's going to figure that one out? No one's going
Right.
to figure out he's just covering his eyes?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Slightly a bit of a Clark Kent nod.
It is,
with
yeah,
the
just
whole,
like-
stupid glasses.
Oh, he took his glasses off. Oh, it's Superman.
It
Weird.
all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yes.
That guy that's
Yeah.
6'5" and is just ripped, but he's like,
Ripped and jacked and can't even he touches the door and explodes. Yeah, that's just Clark bumbling Clark.
bumbling Clark. Yeah. But all right. So yeah, that was the question that popped in my head while I was going through stuff. But
Here's a follow-up though.
okay.
Is Harley Quinn as popular as she is now if Margot Robbie doesn't play her in the Suicide Squad?
I think it depends. I think she already had kind of like a cult-esque following to her. That character did.
A little bit.
And I
she
think
did.
a lot
Yep.
of just like girls really wanted like a stronger female character like
This
portrayed.
is also true. Yeah.
And up to that point, there wasn't a lot in the DC thing. I mean, you had Poison Ivy, who was kind of very effeminate, and not necessarily. I mean, she had her whatever with Uma Thurman's portrayal, And I guess you also had the cat, way back the early '90s. Michelle Pfeiffer or whatever doing Catwoman.
Pfeiffer was Catwoman.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the girls nowadays who are younger and they didn't grow up on that stuff. Like that was came out when they were like 2, or if they were even born yet. And so I think a lot of the stuff, like I feel like maybe it got a little more popular with guys because she played it, but I feel like in terms of female popularity, it seemed like it was always at least kind of there.
I think you're probably spot on. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. With the female crowd, I think there was some good underpinnings of like popularity there, but she
Right.
like put it over the top to win over like the more male audience. I think this is one of the better casts I think that's been. DC has not had much success in the movie realm,
No.
and Suicide Squad was awful. I don't even think I watched more than 10 minutes of it. I just couldn't do it.
There's just
But
too many
she
characters
works.
you have to introduce backstories to. You can't throw out like a dozen different characters and do backstories and the actual movie. It's not going
Exactly.
to work.
I would have liked a Jared Leto Joker and a Margot Robbie Harley Quinn offshoot movie without all the other crazy nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, just simplify it.
And I just felt like a lot of the bad guys that they threw in it were like just uninteresting. Like
Which is dumb.
I hate how they did Killer Croc. Like I thought that was just lame. And it's just like then you have a couple of like the military-esque people, which is kind of just
Yeah.
like
Will Smith's Deadshot makes zero sense.
yeah.
Then there was it was bad all around. All around.
And the problem is you have so many like classic DC villains you could have pulled from. And at least, and I get they didn't want to rehash ones that you'd already seen, but at least if you rehash some, people would already kind of have a connection and know somewhat where they came from. And then because you're already struggling with having to introduce everybody,
Right.
which is the problem. It's like that's why Marvel didn't release the Avengers first. You would be so freaking lost. You would have no idea. You're like, if Thor just suddenly popped up, you'd be like, who the hell is that guy? Like, what?
Right.
Like, unless you read the comics, you wouldn't know. I mean, it's just.
No, you'd have no idea.
Yeah. So they should have done that with the Suicide Squad. They should have had, villains attached to other movies, and then, maybe they shouldn't have had Jesse Eisenberg playing a villain. They should have had somebody else, in it, and then they could have,
Right.
wrapped that in.
Maybe.
Maybe you
that
want to talk
was
about the
one
worst.
of the first
You want to talk about
mistakes.
some of the worst casting calls in the history of comic book movies. There's that. Like,
There is definitely that. Yes.
I don't know who else. Maybe George Clooney as Batman with the nipples in the bat suit was pretty bad. But like,
Up there. It is up.
that was just like, I don't know what you're thinking with this, man.
No. Nothing.
And then they just already killed off Doomsday. It's like, well, that's great. Well, that's
Right.
That's
exactly.
fine.
Just shot that whole thing in the foot.
That's
A
fine.
big giant DC thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
We don't need Doomsday.
You
We
only-
can just take care of it. It's like a subplot.
You only took like some of the most important villains in DC like lore and just they're gone.
Right.
Like-
exactly.
Wait, what? He's as good as Jimmy or whatever, the camera guy. Just kill them all.
Olsen. Exactly.
Jimmy Olsen, yeah.
Oh,
Dead.
good old Jimmy Olsen.
Dead.
Dead. Along with Jimmy Curtis. Both died of.
That is that's gonna get its own ebook publication.
It will. Someday. Someday it will. Absolutely.
Oh man. Okay, so so back onto this. What's one of the female villains you had? Because I wrote down a couple, and I'm gonna be straight honest. Some of these that like I wasn't raised on reading comic books. Is more like just the cartoons and whatever. So some of them I don't have necessarily the kind of connection that you might have. So for this, Chris is.
Yeah.
I'm leaning on Chris much more heavily on this one, but
Oh boy.
yeah. So don't screw it up.
Right.
But
Don't
yes.
mess it
So
up,
what's just one of the characters or whatever that you'd have? if you could.
One of the characters, I think they're going to do this one, by the way. I
Okay.
think this is coming out. But I think one of the best female super villains was Jean Grey as the Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
I don't know how much you know about like the whole lore there, but obviously people know Jean Grey, Marvel Girl. She starts off as like Cyclops' love interest. She's got telekinetic powers. Wolverine kind of falls in love with her. She's super powerful. But then there's like this whole storyline with the X-Men where she turns like super evil.
I do remember seeing that. Okay.
Yeah, and she has like some like really crazy sort of powers and everything like that. And it's called the Dark Phoenix story. I think it came out in like the late 70s was when the first Dark Phoenix kind of arrived with the X-Men. This is when like Chris Claremont was like writing for them. It was probably the heyday. A lot of the X-Men stuff that you see nowadays, even in the new stuff, it's all just rehashed from really what Claremont, and I don't know who the artist was at the time, but what they laid down back in like the mid to late 70s. And she was like rivaling guys like Thanos and even like Galactus to some extent. And so like I've always really dug the Dark Phoenix saga.
Uh-huh.
And like this is weird too, by the way, when you kind of look into this. How many female super villains are like red haired? There's actually like I think a weird overwhelming majority of them
There's a good
have
number,
like
yeah.
red hair.
They're evil.
They're evil. Yeah, sorry.
Cartman was right when he said they had no souls.
Right. Dark Phoenix definitely did not. Now I liked who played Phoenix in the first X-Men. I gotta look that up.
Is that the one where Wolverine kills her? Like they're hugging or whatever, and he lets a ching and goes through because they kind of they know they had to do it, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen all the X-Men movies. It took me a while to catch up with everything.
Actually, so they've got a good cast for her now. I'm looking this up right now, and they have Sophie Turner, who plays, I believe, Sansa.
Yep.
On the HBO Game of Thrones.
Yep.
She is going to be starring as the Dark Phoenix in a movie in 2018. I think that's a great cast. I think that's a solid cast. I'm trying to figure out X-Men movie Jean Grey was, because she was good too, though. I don't know if she was really the Dark Phoenix. That's good. Famke Janssen. I thought she was good cast. I think Sophie Turner is a solid cast for this Dark Phoenix character.
I could dig it, yeah.
I was looking at some other redheads, and I came across like Emma Stone, she was in like Spider-Man. She played Mary Jane. I don't think she's got like the evil bone in her body to really like pull off Dark Phoenix.
Right, yeah.
There's people like it's granted like you could dye your hair red and do it, but I think Sophie Turner is like a regular redhead.
Right.
I wouldn't know.
Cuffs and collar, man.
right. But yeah, that's one of the first one that comes to mind for me.
Okay.
Dark Phoenix.
I'm gonna go with one, and it's a total comp out, but it's just one that I'm more familiar with, so I comped out with it. And it's Poison Ivy, and yes, I know Uma Thurman played it, and everyone knows Poison Ivy, blah blah blah. But I thought at least going forward in the new DC universe, I think it'd be an interesting new person to bring in, especially if they're doing that Gotham City Sirens or whatever movie it is.
Yeah.
And actually, a person that I thought would have been interesting casting, I actually wrote down Sophie Turner. I thought that would be an interesting Poison Ivy
I think she'd be a great
casting.
cast for that.
I also wrote this down. If you're gonna go with the traditional way they were drawn, giant boobed, cartoon character that they had in the comics, if you're
Right.
going for that look, which isn't really the look that they've been going for as of late, I thought you'd go with Christina Hendricks, the redhead from Mad Men.
Was that Mad Men?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're going for that classic old school comic book look, that's who you want.
Here's what I'm gonna throw this out there because
Okay.
Batman's got some interesting lore,
Uh-huh.
and there's some storylines that kind of take place in like the Roaring 20s or 30s or whatever.
Right.
Sometimes, and sometimes they're like way like futuristic. I think if you do a throwback, and it's more of a period type piece and maybe an Elseworlds type storyline,
Okay.
I think Christina Hendricks is a great choice for Poison Ivy because she's got that. I mean, that's why she was in Mad Men, right? Like,
Right.
she just has that old school sex bomb kind of charm
Yeah.
for that kind of era.
Like she should have been like painted on the side of like a World War II jet or something.
Yes, right, exactly. I mean, great. Hey, look, she's fantastic, gorgeous person.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. But for like a more modern, maybe serious Christopher Nolan type Batman story,
Yeah, it wouldn't
I'm
work.
with you. I think here you go. Like again, Sophie Turner. Hey, maybe Sophie Turner. Game of Thrones is ending in a year from now. Maybe this is your new thing. Go be the redheaded villain in a lot of these movies because they're all redheads,
Yeah.
and you're kind of vindictive, evil, and attractive at the same time. It's a weird mix.
And I've also got a third one written down. This is a bit of a curveball, but I thought it could be interesting. I think she could pull it off. Because since
Yeah.
Poison Ivy is like that scientist kind of like attractive scientist, remove glasses and oh she's beautiful kind of thing.
Right.
I put down Nicole Kidman. I think that could
Yeah.
work.
I think it could work as well. Now Kidman, wasn't she Vicky Vale?
No, that
she
was
wasn't. That was not her.
Basinger.
That was Kim Basinger. You're
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
She does.
No, I think Kidman could absolutely pull it off, though.
She does have like that kind of similar, just like body facial structure as a Kim Basinger.
A little bit. Yeah, I was getting him mixed up. I was like, I could have sworn Kidman was in an old comic book movie.
That's what I was thinking too.
Though.
I was like, I feel like she's been in something.
No,
but,
I don't
like-
know though. Wait, I almost want to just look that up real quick.
Right. I was like, because when I was thinking about it, I was like, man, I feel like she's
She was
been
in Batman Forever. She was in Batman Forever.
What was she in Batman Forever? Because I thought Uma Thurman was.
Thurman was Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, she was. Let me pull this up. All right, I got the IMDb coming up. I was saying I could have sworn she was in a Batman movie.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like she's been in something too.
In the Michael Keaton Tim Burton movie. But all right, we've got Dr. Chase Meridian was Nicole Kidman in Batman Forever.
I don't know who that was.
I think that I don't either. I'm
that
pretty
Mr.
sure that it was
Freeze's?
probably supposed to be, yeah, or either that or it was like another Batman love interest because you had Joel Schumacher coming in
Oh,
a new
yeah.
Batman with Val Kilmer. Either way, yes, I think Kidman could absolutely have played a more legit Poison Ivy. Now the problem with like even to some degree, I don't know. I watched Batman Returns just last weekend actually because I hadn't seen it in a while. I
Uh-huh.
remembered when McDonald's came out with like all of the crazy swag for that.
Yeah.
DeVito as Penguin was kind of incredible.
Yeah, it's great casting.
You know, total great casting, and even Pfeiffer as Catwoman was really good. So
Yeah.
I think had Tim Burton kept directing Batman, a Kidman Poison Ivy would have been fantastic.
Yeah. I can't remember why that they went the other way with that. like I don't know if the studio wanted it to be lighter, and then Burton's like, nope, peace out. And I think Keaton went with him. He's like, no, I'm not changing it.
No.
But all right, yeah. So that's Poison Ivy. What do you got next?
Okay, next, this is difficult because there's not like a lot of good female like supervillains really out there.
Right.
I've kind of been weighing like a couple different options, but they're all Marvel, and I'm trying to find somebody that's maybe not Marvel. I've got one. Okay, so Killer Frost. You know who Killer Frost is?
Yeah, isn't that like it's like Mr. Freeze kind of, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And she shows up in the Suicide Squad, at least in the comic books. And I think this would be like, I think she's kind of got like a cool, like backstory. She just kind of the kind of chick person that's got ice powers. And I think with the right person, involved, you could kind of have like a good cast for it. I'm trying to think of like who I would want to play Killer Frost. The problem with a lot of these female supervillains is they just don't. The writers don't put like a lot of good stock into making these people interesting. It's kind of sad a little bit, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of them are just kind of like, meh. Like there's nothing special about them.
Yeah, but she's got like white hair, blue skin. I'm thinking kind of like who was in the movie with, or no, it was an HBO show with the multiple wives. Bill
Paxton or so. Yeah.
Paxton, yeah. Who's one of the wives with Bill Paxton? Hold on a second. I'm trying to figure this. She's been in a bunch of different stuff. While I'm trying to figure this out, who do you got next?
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with another DC one, and again, this one has appeared in movies. This one actually appeared in the last Christopher Nolan movie, but I wasn't necessarily like, oh, that's a great job of that particular character, but it was Talia al Ghul. I wasn't a huge fan of how what's your face played that character, like the Talia character. I didn't like because they kind of made her just like she's kind of conniving or whatever, but she's not really big into martial arts and that kind of stuff. And I mean, her dad is like the head of the League of Shadows and everything. I felt like she should be like more like, I don't know, more like kick your ass kind of thing. And also because I actually know who this character was. So that was another reason why I decided to go with this person.
Yes.
And I was like, I feel like they could make her so much more badass. Like I felt like at least for a potential love interest in that particular movie, it worked fine, and I get why they wanted to go with the name recognition and connect her with, like Liam Neeson's character and everything. But I felt like the actual comic book character would have been way more like badass, I guess, if that's a way to put it. And so that's who I'm going with. And my casting of it is all over the place, though. It's
Yeah.
So all right. So the first person I thought maybe I went with Olivia Munn. I was like, I don't even know if that would work with her.
Okay. I think it could work.
Because I feel like you're kind of going for like I don't even know what you're going for. Just secretive, so not just like a plain boring white chick, That's boring.
Right.
Not for that. And then I went with this one doesn't make any sense. I went with Alicia Keys.
I can see
the musician.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think I've got the. Okay, go ahead.
I got one more. And actually, I was thinking about it. Last week we did last episode we did our Fallout thing with who we would want in the our Fallout shelters with us.
Yeah.
And
right.
after we did the episode, I was like, no, I want to change my answer to this person. And this person is Rashida Jones, and she was also on Parks and Rec and The Office.
I think.
Um,
Yeah.
But she's Quincy Jones's daughter, so she's got some high-end name recognition when her dad produced the Thriller album. But so she's got so she was on Parks and Rec, and she dated Jim in The Office. I just think she's got that look, that kind of mysterious look, where because she's always done kind of comedic stuff, but I feel like she could in the right setting she could kick some ass and have that kind of mysterious whatever vibe going on. So
I like it. Here's my pick for Talia would be, I would throw Gal Gadot in there.
okay, I could see that.
Yeah, because she's got like the
athletic
Ra's al
kind
Ghul's. Yeah, athletic. They're kind of based in the Middle East a little bit. I think she's Israeli.
Yes,
if I
she
remember
is.
right.
Yes.
So I think a Gal Gadot Talia could be kind of cool. She
dig
could
that.
never do it now, obviously, because she's Wonder Woman. There's no way they'd be able to do this. But
Yeah, you
I
can
think
play
in, like,
both
a
characters
future-
now. Yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah, but I think in like a future kind of, or like an Elseworlds kind of thing, I think she could pull it off.
Oh yeah, I dig that one. Yeah, for sure.
So I found Killer Frost. I was thinking of Chloe Sevigny, whatever her last name is. The really blondish one from Big Love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think she could do a decent Killer Frost. And this sort of like, so this segues into the other pick that I was going to do. This comes from Marvel Comics, but Emma Frost, the White Queen.
Okay.
She's kind of like, have you heard of her at all before? X-Men have probably maybe the biggest variety of female villains, I feel like.
Like
at least large.
It sounds a little familiar, but I'm still kind of like
She's got like some telekinesis powers, some mind powers, but she can also kind of turn her skin to like diamond, and she wears like incredibly skimpy clothes, like they generally tend to do. She's part of the original like Hell's Club. What was it called? Something like that. But anyway, she's basically like she kind of gets to be reformed later on in like the comics mythos, but this is like another character where I don't think they've done much with. There's tons of potential there. You could almost do anything because all you got to do is just have white hair
right.
with it. So like pick your like favorite kind of actress to date, and she could almost like sub in there.
Right. And switch
I'm
it.
trying to think of like, yeah, right, pretty much. I'm trying to think of like who I would kind of want to be in with this one, and I almost think like a Rachel McAdams could kind of do a good job, or even a Jennifer Aniston actually as a Killer Frost, or an Emma Frost would be kind of fun to see.
Okay. I could see that.
And she doesn't do much. Like she's always sort of like so goody-goody. It'd be kind of interesting to see her sort of play a bad guy.
Yeah, that would be nice to see her play like a bad character. Like that a lot. Yeah, it's always nice when you finally see those people that always play goody two shoes finally going into like the bad realm.
Right. Yeah. Oh, Jennifer. Well, you couldn't really do Jennifer Lawrence either, because she's already playing Mystique.
Well, we'll just kind of, we'll just kill her off and have her come back as somebody else.
Right. Easy enough.
And done.
Done. You know who I'd like to see? I don't know who she would play, but Charlize Theron, I think, would play a good like female villain.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I wonder who she would play. That'd be interesting. Person to figure out.
I would almost like so. There was other Black Widows. Actually, there was a blonde Black Widow before there was Natasha Romanoski. Who's
Okay.
like the redheaded Scarlett Johansson one. There's another one. Like the Black Widows. They're like this Russian secret soldier program, kind of like what they're doing with Captain America and the other stuff.
Right.
And so, I mean, if you did like a backstory or something like that, I think a Charlize Theron could be kind of cool.
Okay, yeah. That would definitely work. So I had somebody that I was thinking of, and then I looked it up, and I was like, well, shoot, I think she was actually appeared in some X-Men TV show, movie stuff. So I don't know if this person would work.
Still count.
Because, well, I just liked Lady Deathstrike, but I think she actually appeared in the X-Men stuff. Maybe she didn't.
She was in, yeah, no, she was in like a Wolverine movie, but I don't think they really went into like her character that much.
Okay. Well, that was just a random thing. I don't know. So I'll skip her. So my the final two people I have, I know nothing about. I just think it'd be interesting, and I'm gonna go with the. I'm gonna save the craziest one for last. But so this one I'm gonna say I'd like to see Roulette as a character.
Which one's Roulette? Who's that?
Okay, let's bring this back up. Roulette as a character, she's a DC character. Her write-up is Roulette is an incredibly sneaky, manipulative, and devious villain who makes her money in many illegal rackets, most notably fighting tournaments involving meta-humans. That doesn't help anything. She was in Justice League stuff. Her grandmother was the original Roulette who battled the original Mr. Terrific while dating his brother Ned. That sounds about right.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. She's newer, apparently. She popped up around September 2001.
Okay.
She's a newer character.
See, I wasn't collecting a lot of DC back then. But yeah, okay. I could dig it.
So, but yeah, if you look it up, she's just, I don't know. But actually, when I was going through characters, I actually really dug the woman that plays Elektra in Daredevil. I think would be perfect for this
Yes. This would be. Absolutely, man. Like, the more that I kind of look into it and check her out, I really liked who played Elektra in Daredevil. I gotta look
Her
it up.
name is, I believe, Elidor Young, I believe, is her name.
Okay. Yeah, she would be. Yeah, Elodie Young.
Elodie, yeah. I'm
She
sure
would
it's
be
not.
a perfect match for Roulette for sure. Yeah, dude.
And then I also wrote down, actually, of course, this one wouldn't work because she already appeared in Suicide Squad, but Karen Fukuhara, I think, would be a good individual to play that character.
Another actor. What else has she been in?
She was in Suicide Squad, and then not a whole lot else.
Not yet.
It's all just
Maybe.
announced. She played Katana in Suicide Squad.
That's a good cast. Katana is another one who's, look, Suicide Squad could have been a lot of fun. They messed it up. DC just didn't have the right team
You
on
screwed it up. You screwed it up.
You messed it up.
But all right. Well, do you have other characters?
I don't have many. There's a ton of them that we could probably spend time kind of like diving into, but there's not like an iconic female.
Yeah, there's not. So I got one other one, and I just think it's entertaining to talk about, and which is why I wrote it
Yes.
down. It is Giganta. So basically, just a giant woman.
Right. That's all she is. It's just a huge woman. That's it.
Yeah, and so I was like, well, this would be
A
fun.
giantess.
Yeah, and so the women I wrote down that I think would be fantastic, Giganta castings. I wrote down I think Katy Perry. I wrote down Salma Hayek.
Yes.
And Sofia Vergara or whatever, the woman from
I think Sofia Vergara. Yeah, a sweet cast for
yeah.
sure.
So
Giganta.
I'm not I'm not saying there's anything similar between those three women that I kind of referenced. I also thought about bringing back the Christina Hendricks casting for the Giganta, but
Right.
but,
Giganta in some parts.
yeah. So I just thought that I was like, this character's it's just a giant woman ripping down buildings, but I thought it's funny to think about. So naturally, I went with women
Who's
with
the
giant
tallest
boobs.
actress in Hollywood?
Tallest actress.
Right.
That is a good question. I have no idea.
You went with it was going for sure.
I just went with the actresses with boobs. I was like Giganta. Not that it's in my search history or anything.
No, no. Okay, there's Elizabeth Debicki,
Okay.
who is she's born August 24th, 1990, so she's young. She's from France. She's 6'3". That is tall.
Oh man.
That's a tall girl right there.
Well, so is Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones. She's 6'3" as well.
Oh, she was in The Great Gatsby and Guardians of the Galaxy. What did she play?
Gwendolyn Christie?
No, Elizabeth Debicki played.
Oh.
She was in The Great Gatsby.
Oh,
Now, who did you
man.
say?
Gwendolyn Christie. She played what's her face of
Oh,
Tarth from.
yeah,
And then she also
okay.
played Captain Phasma, which was a throwaway character, but Brooke Shields is 6
Yeah, no,
feet tall,
that's-
man. I would have not have guessed
Wow.
that.
I would not have guessed that either.
So she's Giganta. Sigourney
Yeah,
Weaver's
she could
6
definitely
feet.
be
Wow, that's kind of
Giganta.
scary.
Jane Lynch. She's also 6 foot tall.
I like that we're just scrolling through women's heights. I mean, Uma Thurman's 5'11", man.
I think you got to be over 6 feet for Giganta,
Okay.
or otherwise have assets like what's her name has.
Yeah.
Either one. You gotta
course,
have some kind
You
of.
got Giselle, who's married to Tom Brady at 5'11". So great. His
How could he settle? It's not Brady like.
5'11".
Kidman's 5'11". Tilda Swinton is 5'11". What is this 5'11" crap?
Of course, we could also look up, according to Perez Hilton, the biggest boobs in Hollywood. We could always do it if we wanted to go that route.
Yeah, let's do that route real quick. Let's just see what that. I'm throwing my Google search history to a bandit at this point. I usually use incognito for this kind of search.
Yeah, and then burn the computer when you're done.
Right.
How do they?
All
They
right,
always
let's see.
say
What
like
do
they
we got?
start throwing out like cup sizes. Like, how do you guys know? Like, is it that obvious? Like, am I that naive to
I don't
know that you can like figure that out?
Some things. All right, what do we get?
Oh yeah, I thought about throwing Amber Rose in.
This is
But
up there for sure.
I almost did Amber Rose, but I kept her out just because. But you know Amber Rose, formerly married or with
No. It's
What's that?
stuff here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did a Google search for Amber Rose. Yes, she could be Giganta for sure.
According to PerezHilton.com, she's a 36H, so I figured that, that's
It's definitely Giganta territory for sure.
And yes, we have crossed into that territory. We have
Apparently, people have also searched for Wiz Khalifa when searching for Amber Rose.
oh well, there
Not
you
sure
go,
what the
man.
connection there.
Why did they not organize this according to size? This is just really. I guess you could do Scott Johansson.
I'm kind of disappointed with like. Come on, man! Like you could have done a better job here.
Yeah, this is not organized well.
This is not. My first search result is 33 celebrities with really, really big boobs. How big are we talking? His title, search one, which is clearly a reputable source.
Yeah.
I forgot about Jennifer Love Hewitt. I feel like she could revitalize her super villainous
I
role.
agree. We could bring her back.
You nailed like the 3 top 5 though on this list was your picks for Giganta. And then 4 and 5 were Katie and Christina Hendricks. So well done, sir.
I mean, Katy Perry is just okay. I don't need YouTube popping up, adding sound
Yeah,
effects
right.
to her.
Exactly.
I don't know, that's YouTube as well. Come on,
No.
man. Harper's Bazaar.
Yeah. We're trying to do science here, and we're just getting a bunch of crap in these search results.
We're just trying to find out
Ridiculous. We're
who
just trying to-
scientifically has the biggest breast, so we can finally put to rest who plays Giganta in our.
Yeah, right. If it's not based on height,
Yeah.
or both, maybe we can find like the person that's tall and well endowed.
Okay, here is an official IMDb page of actresses from big to huge boobs.
Oh, nice. So that's definitely the
That is the actual name of it.
right.
How do I go to the we're gonna scroll to the bottom? Who has huge?
There's people that wrote this, by the way, listeners. They're freelancers like us that sat there and wrote these articles for our.
Man, whoever wrote this should be fired.
Yes. Yes.
This is just like not very well researched. I feel like if you're gonna put the time into writing this kind of article, you gotta research this.
Yeah. Oh man, I came across an article that's got Pam Anderson listed in here. What has she done in like the last anything?
That's good.
She was already a comic book villain or whatever, anti-hero.
Yeah.
Barbed Wire. Did you know Barbed Wire was actually a comic book movie?
I
Like
think
that was. So the. Go ahead.
I think
Go ahead.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
The 90s, man, like you had sort of Barbed Wire was one of them. You also had Lady Death, I believe is the name. And if anybody like Googles Lady Death Image Comics, you'll see exactly kind of what I'm talking about with images. It's like classic 90s stuff, like just total nonsense. Like you're not buying this book to read this book. Let's put it that way. That's about as simple as we can put it.
Here you go. This will work. Woman named Maria Zaring. She's from Russia. She was voted Russia's top natural beauty. So she already has that Russian
Oh yeah,
world thing.
right.
And she's sporting some 34Ks, man.
34.
So,
34.
sweet
Okay.
Jesus.
Wow. Ow. That is Giganta.
Yeah. That's
I think you found her. We saved you the Google. Listeners, just go Find Maria Zaring, and that's your Giganta.
Of course, you already got. You could also go with Christy Love of Atlanta, Georgia, with 48 double N's.
What was this name?
Christy with a K and Love.
Okay. This is purely for research purposes. Oh, she's in a very specific line of work, apparently.
Okay, this person's picture has been removed
from
from
the
Instagram.
checklist?
That's
Oh,
interesting.
boy.
Jeez.
I think I'm going to go with the Russian. Russia wins again. What's going on, America? Come on, you guys.
Here's a woman
Maria
from
Zaring?
Amsterdam with 38 T's. This is so stupid.
At what point do they just like give up? Like, that's it. Like, we're not even trying to get to the rest of the alphabet.
No. Oh, what's a 38
Done.
triple K? Like, I'm sorry, ma'am, your boobs are racist at this point. Like, you got.
Right. That's a real thing, apparently. Triple K is a real thing.
Oh, jeez. Some
You
like,
would think they would have just said no. Let's just. Can it not be L? At that point,
yeah, yeah, triple
you had
K.
to go KKK.
Yeah, that's. You had to. That's not.
Maybe this is why there's not so many like legit female villains that we take seriously.
Okay.
Because it just
I,
ends up with us like talking about Giganta.
Okay.
end of the-
I have the winner. I have the winner. I'm stopping at this because there's this.
Okay.
After this, I mean, this is already stupid. This is already so dumb. This woman, name of Chelsea Charms, has a size of 153 triple X.
Oh boy. Okay.
Just type in Chelsea Charms and you'll just be like, geez.
It's basically a cartoon nutsack sitting on a lap with a head.
It is a cartoon nutsack with a face on it, isn't it?
That is it. That is basically what you're looking at.
I don't even. This is just. Oh, jeez. I don't even understand this at this point.
I don't even know what kind of supervillain that is, but that's something for sure. She's only 5'2". She's only 5'2".
Oh, okay. I got another one for you, man. Type in Beshine.
How do you spell Beshine?
Beshine, like BE and then shine. This one might win.
Beshine.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Wow, the second result is the official website of the world's biggest boobs. Oh, yeah. Wow. How did she even get around?
I don't like.
She got like an ADA disability right now.
Like I feel like that's just like you just have like inflatable balloons. Like that can't be.
No. She has done that to herself. She did that. I've got a picture of her just like hanging out at some dock with the yellow shirt on.
Yeah.
And it just looks like totally cartoony. Hey, I mean, we all gotta make some dollars somewhere. There's another one that just.
According to his
it's
website,
just
she
like
weighs
Photoshop.
130 pounds, but 40 of the pounds are her boobs. 40 pounds, man.
40.
That's like two first
Uh,
graders.
They're saying so. Wait. What was it? What was the original weight?
The average woman gets Bashan weighs in at 130 pounds, but each breast is said to weigh 20 pounds alone.
No way. So they're saying 70 pounds without. I'm calling BS on that. I mean, hey, she's a small girl besides that, but still. This is like circus like type material. It's like so painful.
I'll at least throw it out to Annie Hawkins for having natural, the natural Kazumbas. For 48V. I don't know how you get natural that way, but you know.
Whoa. Yeah. All right.
But you know what?
What did she? Wow. There you go. That's a different kind of Giganta.
There. That's
We have reached a dark place in the internet, ladies and gentlemen. This is a strange zone we have gotten
somehow
into.
we went from we've gone down a really weird
The
path.
Super Bowl, Tom Brady, best there ever was, to Norma Stitz.
The woman with triple X boobs. Ugh.
Right. The greatest there ever was. It all makes sense. It's very meta. You guys just gotta digest it. You'll see the connections.
She obviously asked her doctor, "What will it take for me to get to a size XXX? That's what I want." And the doctor's like, "You're an idiot, but okay, I'll take your like 60 grand for how much like saline injections this will take."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that doctor was probably like, no, it's gonna take. He's like adding it up in his head, like that all adds up to smooth $400,000 payment to me. Yeah, I think we can make this work. Your life's gonna be ruined forever after this, but
What's that medical oath that doctors are supposed to take where you don't like ruin somebody's life? I'm pretty sure.
the Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah, the Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah, he totally disregarded that. Well, not really. He's like, we can put you on a cart, sort of like a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Not really. You just sort of lay them on there and then just wheel them around.
Like one of those like
Standard.
one of those things you get at Home Depot. That's not a shopping cart. It's just like a thing that you push.
Exactly.
Yo, we got this for
How
you.
you gotta. Right. You officially have a disability. You're in the Guinness Book of World Records. I don't know how you feel about all this, but it is what it is now.
Oh, jeez. We should probably call it while we're not even ahead anymore. We fell behind
We're not. We fell way behind a long time ago. That's right. And on that note.
Yeah. So,
You know,
okay, of the 3 beers, which one are you going with?
I actually preferred the Stone Inevitable Adventure Double IPA. I've never had a double IPA that didn't make me want to completely, like, so bitter that I needed to drink like a Coca-Cola afterwards. And that one was surprisingly drinkable, so I'm going with that one.
Okay. I'm cheating. I'm going with the Firestone Pivo Hoppy Pills. It's kind of cheating since the other 2 are double IPAs. If I had to go with one of the double IPAs, I'm going to go with the Clown Shoes Galactica Double IPA. Even though, according to Beer Advocate, I'm a moron and I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm looking up.
That's like.
But Beer Advocate is all about the bitter. The more bitter, the better.
They are, dude.
Although, strangely enough, the Victory Dirt Wolf Double IPA has an IBU of just 65, unless the website I was looking at is wrong. It has an IBU of 65, which seems low for a double IPA.
Seems really low.
It has a 4.28 out of 5 rating on Beer Advocate. The Galactica has an 86 IBU, which seems more accurate for a double IPA. And it has a 3.93, which is still, not bad. I feel like with Beer Advocate, if you're over a 4, you're doing something right. But again, I don't know.
Right.
IPAs are tricky on Beer Advocate. But
so this Inevitable Adventure had a 70 IBU. That's really low for a double IPA.
Yeah. It's like, what are you guys doing?
Pulled
Like,
off.
did you not brew it long enough the first time?
I don't know, but it was good. I mean, like I said, for a double IPA, apparently, I mean, I'll take it. They didn't go the bitter route. But 70 IBU is you don't usually see something like that for a double.
No, that is kind of
My
yeah.
Star Chicken Shotgun had an 80. It was a single. It was weird.
and my Pivo Pilsner had a 40 IBU.
Nice.
So, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it seems like from the ratings, some people are kind of hit and miss. I think there's a lot of just IPA people that are pissy about it not being super bitter. Seems like that's
right.
Yeah, the kind of people I don't know, not quite enjoying it, but I don't know. I liked it. I'm gonna go drink this along with my hang out with Katy Perry and Rashada Jones and go down to my bunker.
Exactly.
And don't worry, someday somebody will be talking about us. Like, I want back Grayson and Chris, and we're gonna have to go on down into my bunker.
I'll welcome any invitation. I'll vet any and all invitations when that comes up. That's a promise.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all we got for this Super Bowl episode. We kind of really went off on a really odd right turn there at the end. But, you know, what are you going to do? We're looking at Giganta casting. I think we're looking for suitable castings. So,
hey, you know, we didn't make the character up.
yeah.
All we're trying to do is fit that square peg in that round hole. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah. So, not sure what we're going to do for the next episode. We'll figure it out. We got 2 weeks. Maybe it'll be a Valentine's Day, or it'll be a post-Valentine's Day thing, probably. Or, right around there. Maybe.
Yeah, everybody likes love. We'll talk about some love stuff.
I guess, yeah. We're going to end up back on our giant boobs thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt. If you like left turns, then show up for next episode.
This is why we need like the occasional female to pop up on our show, just so they can be given their like favorite
corral
giant,
this a little bit.
Yeah, or they can just talk about their favorite giant penis stuff. I don't know, so that we're kind of still shooting down the middle.
Right. Although I would be curious about their favorite giant boobed person as well.
Yes.
If I'm honest.
Yes. That would be, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we can make it happen. We'll see.
Open invitation, listeners.
Yeah. But all right, before we go down any further rabbit
Before
holes,
we go any farther,
we're going to let it go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe to our stuff. Again, as we were saying earlier, we got a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe in the next couple of months. We're pretty excited about, and once we finally get that website up and everything's rolling and everything, yeah. So we're going to have some good stuff for you guys and a lot more content to check out. So the next few months of Two Dudes in a Six Pack are going to be really sweet. So, Chris, you got anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's it, man. I'm digging it. Look forward to the next few months. And yeah, stick with us.
So, all right, yeah. So for Chris and myself, and for every woman that has 38H and above, we will see you guys later. Take it easy.
Thanks for listening. All original music is by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com. If you can, please rate, review, and spread the word of Two Dudes in a Six Pack.